Nishu, like, what will be your advice, right? Why should basically doctors start a podcast, right? And what are its benefits? Because I was speaking to some of the doctors who are still studying. They are like, I have exams, right? And when I speak to like older doctors, like they are telling, hey, that's all like technology, right? Like how to use it, how to do it, we don't know. What is the importance of podcast? And you tell us in India, how many doctors are there total, and how many are actually even doing podcast? What is the unfair advantage they can get if they start right now?
So the first thing is podcast is a concept which is new in India, but if I go international and abroad, it's like very well there. Like 2 to 3 years back, people started doing podcast. Podcast was in the form of first the audio podcast were there, but now the video podcast are there. I have seen in India lot of creators, like I mentioned, like Rash Hamani, Bare Biceps. They have already like inviting doctors in their podcast. There is a
Yes.
reason of inviting them. So the reason is because the searches on YouTube about people searching for specific diseases is have increased. And when the search term increases, that means a lot of people are now starting searching about that topic. Like for example, I've seen like recently a lot of diabetic videos are there, a lot of podcasts like Dr. Paul is also making a lot of content on diabetic gut health. So I was like thinking there is some strategy behind it. Then I came to know like maybe festival season is coming, that's why a lot of diabetic content is getting created. Apart from that, the creators who are creating, they understand the YouTube algorithm very well. Down the line, 6 months, 1 year, healthcare podcast gonna be the next game changer. Because podcast is one thing, education podcast is there are a lot of podcasts on business owners, like Nitin Kamath is doing, where is
Correct.
Nikhil Kamath is doing, where he's calling like a lot of entrepreneurs and doing the podcast with them. But there's no one who is doing into healthcare specifically. So in
Right.
healthcare, but I think even if doctor is starting today, it's not late. Just start. Even the big hospitals, they have not started. I have seen like podcast by Fortis, but it is very technical. It's like very medical, which they are doing podcast. Even if a doctor can start a podcast wherein they are educating, they are calling some moderator who is like who can just ask the questions and they will answer. They can become like big in down the line like 1 year, because that is what people are now watching. They are not reading like website blogs, they are going to YouTube watching the podcast, and that is how you can build your authority in your community. So I think like
Absolutely.
podcasts are very, it's a must for a lot of doctors who are already star doctors. I will not suggest podcast for new doctors as of now, because as of now for new doctors they should focus on getting themselves on YouTube and on Instagram. So that is like one thing for star doctors who already have a lot of passion about their about their vision. They have already achieved a lot of things in their life, because patient wants to listen from them what this doctor is saying about this particular topic. So like that is like my message, and that is what, like, if doctors can start doing it today as well, they can see benefit down the line. 1 year or 2 years they can blow up. Like a lot of content creators can start also calling them in their shows.